And here is the Writer's Almanac for Saturday. It's the 10th of August, 2019. On this day in 1912, Virginia Stephen married Leonard Woolf and became Virginia Woolf. She was 30. He was 31. They were married at a registry office in London. 1519 on this date, Ferdinand Magellan set off to sail around the world. He was sailing for Spain. He left Seville, heading west, crossed the Atlantic, reached Brazil, turned south, went down around the coast and through the strait that came to be called the Strait of Magellan, sailed into the next ocean, which he named the Pacific because it was calmer than the Atlantic, wound up in the Philippine Islands where he got involved in a war between two tribes and he was killed in battle. The fleet continued without him and they got back to Spain in 1522, 3 years later. It was on this day, 1846, the Smithsonian Institution was established in Washington, money left by James Smithson, the illegitimate son of a nobleman and a widow related to the royal family. He inherited a lot of money, but because he was illegitimate, he couldn't take advantage of any social connections, so he never married, he had no children, bequeathed his entire fortune to the United States, a country he had never seen, and it went to form the Smithsonian. It's the birthday of Jorge Amado, born in Brazil, 1912, one of the most widely translated novelists in the world. Author of Home is the Sailor and Dona Flor and Her Two Husbands. It's the birthday of Ellen Hart, born Minneapolis, 1949, mystery novelist, author of This Little Piggy Went to Murder and Dial M for Meatloaf, which has a murder in it and also a meatloaf recipe contest. It was on this date in 1793 the Louvre opened as a public museum on the right bank of the Seine in Paris. It had been a palace, but the French Revolution was in full swing, 1793. Louis XVI had been imprisoned by the National Assembly, which had seized the buildings and its contents, and it was open to the public. Today it's the world's largest museum. It's the birthday of the poet Joyce Sutphen, St. Joseph, Minnesota, 1949. Grew up on her parents' farm with 9 brothers and sisters. Got her doctorate in Renaissance drama, and then on a break from her studies overseas, she sat down and found herself writing poetry. Joyce Sutphen, who said, "Poetry makes the world real for me. In the end, it isn't hard. When I sit down to write a poem, one thing just leads to another." It's the birthday of the novelist Suzanne Collins, Hartford, 1962. She'd written a children's book series called The Underland Chronicles when she was struck by the similarity between reality television and the coverage of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. And she turned that into a trilogy about a future North America in which young people are forced to fight to the death for their country's amusement. It was The Hunger Games, came out in 2008. And it's the birthday of the poet Laurence Binyon, born Lancaster, England, 1869, famous for his poem For the Fallen, written about the dead of World War I. They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning we will remember them. Here's a poem by Joyce Sutphen, Horseshoes with Morris. On Sundays, my father and Morris played horseshoes. I loved to see them in their white shirts and black slacks, each carrying a pair of clanking iron in their calloused hands, stepping the left foot forward, swinging the right arm back. And I loved the way the shoe went twisting and turning through the air like an acrobat in the circus. We never got to see and the way I knew simply from the sound that it was another perfect ringer. Horseshoes with Morris, a poem by Joyce Sutphen, From Carrying Water to the Field, New and Selected Poems, published by University of Nebraska Press and used by permission here on the Writer's Almanac. Be well, do good work, and keep in touch.